First clip I chose shows my handstand journey so far. The straddle press was a nice haha moment for me. Sometimes you think of a certain goal as still out of reach, but in reality it's only a matter of having the right intention. And this of course was a valuable lesson for me. The second clip is all about context and transferability.
Toes to bar is an exercise I feel I've vastly improved on. From struggling to do a few mechanically advantaged reps per set to doing 3 sets of 10 strict toes to bars is a huge accomplishment for me. The combination of training toes to bars in isolation as an exercise, as well as an application via rock climbing, has complemented each other very well. I just started climbing 1 month ago. It's clear that working with Will gave me a huge leg up in terms of body awareness and general capability. My mindset is also a lot different in approaching climbing. I don't feel the need to do a problem once, conquer it, and seek a new problem again. I would rather climb a problem well. I think this has a lot to do with dealing with practice days, where there is no new stimuli for an entire program, which in my case could be a few months. I'm very happy with this. It's extremely freeing, as this was not the case for me when I tried rock climbing 5 years ago.
I could barely do the lowering portion of a handstand push-up. This year I've packed on a lot of strength, but so having to use coordination and physical intelligence, it's been very rewarding and it's made me feel a lot more confident in my abilities.
Under Will's guidance, my practice transformed from a purely physical practice to something much more meaningful and wholesome. The process of learning a handstand has been all about observing and reflecting for me. Taking notes has been super helpful to see what works and what doesn't, and to track my sessions. More so, applying this method of observing and reflecting to my daily life has made me so much more aware of how I interact and respond to things, and therefore made the process of changing default responses to conscious ones so much easier. A truly empowering practice.
When Will asked me to send him a clip for this video of something that I felt had improved, I first thought about the one-arm chin-up. That was my big goal last year. And while I did achieve that, I feel it would be dishonest to hide the fact that shortly after I injured myself. And the main reason I injured my shoulder was because of my relentless pursuit. The handstand, however, was something I approached a bit more lightly. I just gave my best during the time I set aside to practice it, and that was it. What's funny is I wasn't aware of just how much I had improved. I was so fixated on one thing that I missed the other. So this is my delayed appreciation.
In the last year, my practice shifted from pure conditioning and mobility work to the exploration of parkour. I am really happy about that because now I can make full use of the strength and explosiveness that I've developed to dive into a new fascinating world and investigate the countless possibilities that the urban scenario provides. I'm really excited to see where this practice will bring me.
Beginning of this year, I already was able to do a straddle press, but the quality and consistency weren't there yet, and it always felt extremely demanding whenever I tried to add more after a single rep. However, since I was training and pursuing towards the starter press, I needed to add more and push harder. Throughout the year, I followed this path by pushing harder but also failing more often. Unfortunately, the starter press isn't mine yet, but my straddle press as well as my pike press with multiple reps became kind of a standard along this journey, which I find incredibly wonderful, and that even 1.5 years ago I would have called it impossible. What I learned throughout this year, among other things, is that even when I pursued something else more specifically and didn't reach this goal, accomplished something that I found impossible earlier became my new norm.
The biggest change in this for me is not in the handstand itself, in general awareness. So I noticed I have better body awareness, and what I mean by this is I can organize different body parts better because I now know where they are, and this transfers very, very well to other activities as well. climbing, parkour, most of the things I do. Had a big improvement subjectively in the last few months, from getting better at feeling where I am and where my center of mass is, for example. A big transition I experienced in my practice this year is how I perceive my dancing. I've started working with Will for the sake of self-expression. Back then I saw dance as an act of skill. You become skillful in many techniques, you integrate them, and use them whenever time feels right. 100% robotic definition, because I disregarded the emotional component in which dance can be expressed. That's why in the first video a year ago, you will see me jumping around and do cool shit. And in the second one, you'll see a simple cartwheel, which is complemented with intention and curiosity. These days, I prefer the latter.